All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine with 905 Sports. Going to be getting into the top picks in place here for the Showdown slate. Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. Soon to be Arlington Hype Bears, hopefully, because that stadium, that field last week was horrid. It was bad, okay? And a lot of the Bears players, we can't draw any sort of conclusions from last week, which does somewhat make this slate more difficult. And I will say, like, part of the playing time that we saw last week could have been just due to the field as well. So it does make that a little bit more difficult on the Bears side of it. But also, I do think we're going to get some lower owned Bears players simply because of that game as well. So it is going to be one in which we can stack. Then obviously on the Packers side of it, Allen Lazard is going to be back receiver wise, and they really just spread out the snaps. So we are going to be figuring out the lineup construction, the lineup process for this slate. And guys, I found one that I really like, and it's one that should be a good one. Okay, we'll touch on that right now. So breaking it down right now, the Packers are favored to win by 9 points. The game over and under isn't too high, which I could actually see this game being a higher scoring game. We'll see though. Obviously, both offenses did not look good last week, and for the most part, the Bears are not supposed to be a good offense. Okay, both defenses on the flip side did look good. And I say that relatively because I know Justin Jefferson went off. Okay, I think that was more or less a situation in which the Packers starters had not gotten that many live reps and they just needed those. Okay, so I do expect them to be better, like defensively, especially in that secondary where they have some of the better secondary options in the league. So kind of a strange week one there for the Packers and for the Bears with that weather game for that matter. But let's talk about it. So on the Chicago side of it, I do think Justin Fields has a path in which he could have a good game. Okay, I do think those rushing attempts are going to continue to be there for him. Okay, but I don't expect him to be all that much more successful than what he was last week. Okay, 14 DK points is probably what I would kind of project him to score. Like what he did last week is not too shocking. Had a lot of rushing attempts, did have 2 touchdowns. Okay, so he was able to put up fantasy points. Okay, can he get to 20 DK points with a rushing touchdown, with a little bit more rushing yards? He certainly can. Like, that is within the realm of possibilities, but I'm not going crazy with Justin Fields today. Like, sure, if you can fit him into your builds, you can. And if you want to run a couple of Bears stacks with Justin Fields in there, you certainly can. But for the most part, I am not going to be playing him. I do think the offense is going to continue to run through David Montgomery like it did last week. 17 rushing attempts, 4 targets. Okay, a lot of people are going to point out that Khalil Herbert had more yards per carry. He really had one big run that was a wide open run. Okay, besides that, nothing was there for either of them. Okay, it was just he was in the game when that hole was there, and he was able to take advantage of it because he's a better than average running back in the league, but he is a backup running back. Like, the offense is David Montgomery. Okay, so I think we're going to get David Montgomery at a much lower ownership than we really should, especially for that usage. He played in 60% of the snaps, and he had 21 total opportunities last week. Like, at 9K too, to get kind of a workhorse running back for a Showdown slate, I like that a decent amount. Now, will I play him in the captain spot? Probably not, but he certainly can get a little bit more work in the passing game and be more productive. I do expect Darnell Mooney to have a much better game, but the tough part about Mooney on this slate specifically is how are the Packers going to adjust from getting beat up by Justin Jefferson last week? I don't want to say Darnell Mooney is Justin Jefferson or anything like that, but he does have that like kind of natural ability to get open and then make defenders miss. Mooney, if they try to game plan the same way they did against the Vikings, would be a great play, where they're not shadowing him at all. But at the same time, why would you not like shadow Mooney, who, really besides David Montgomery is their, next best offensive weapon? Okay, so like Mooney should have a good game, but if the Packers defend it correctly, he should get shut down. So that is where the slate gets tough. I do expect him to get a lot more targets in this one, 7 or so targets in this one. He should be a good play, but also the Packers could like game plan him out of it, which I think they should do, but I also thought they would do that last week, and they certainly did not do that. From there, we get EQ with his revenge game against the Packers. He had 3 targets last week, able to score a touchdown, kind of a lucky one. He has been the receiver number 2, played the second most snaps out of all the receivers. I do not love him. Okay, he's never been a good player for the Packers. He basically sucked. I don't know how he's a receiver number 2. We'll see. I will say it's pretty surprising that Byron Pringle is priced up more than Dante Pettis. Okay, Dante Pettis played the 3rd most receiver snaps for the for the Chicago Bears there. So he is basically their receiver number 3. Okay, he had 1 target, 51 yards, and a touchdown. If he's going to be in the game and let's just say the Bears are going to be down Like, he should be on the field a little bit more, so there should be more targets coming in his way. If the Bears do decide to somewhat shadow Mooney, Pettis would be the receiver that I want over EQ. And given his price point, it does make a little bit more sense. Now, 4.8 is a pretty high price point still, but at the same time, you could easily make Dante Pettis work into a build. I don't love him. And the part that I don't like about this slate is you got Cole Kmet priced at 2K. The Bears starting tight end. He played the second most snaps out of a skills player for the Bears last week. A lot of people are expecting him to be much more productive, and I do too as well. Obviously, if they're down in this game once again, he should be used a lot more in the passing game. At 2K, that is crazy. Like, if you wanted to play him in the captain spot, try to get lucky for a touchdown or something like that, just given the price point, like, I am fine with that. I get the logic behind that. So, like, from there, you could easily just play, like, let's go Montgomery from the Bears, and then you're just stacking it up with Packers players, okay? Because they're obviously a 9-point favorite, 9.5-point favorite. You would want to do that. I will say, an interesting part about this slate is how will the Bears D do, okay? Because, like, with the Chargers on Thursday Night Football, we were wondering, are the Chargers D? Is that D for real? And they were. Obviously, they played really well against the Chiefs. They played really well against the Raiders in week 1. The Bears played really well against the Niners last week, and I kind of expected that. I said, like, they are one of the most underrated defenses in the league. We'll see if that's true this week going against the Green Bay Packers. Maybe they do provide some resistance. Obviously, DFS-wise, I don't want to chase that, but I could see that within the realm of possibilities of them having a good game. From there, we got the Bears owner, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Aaron Rodgers has really just dominated the Bears his whole career. The Packers have won 6 straight times, and they're expected to win in this one once again. A lot of people are going to say that Aaron Rodgers played poorly. He was one drop touchdown away from having a really good game. A.J. Dillon didn't score a touchdown. That game was a lot closer than it seemed. A lot of people are blowing it out of proportion. It was week 1 in which the starters did not play that much. Same thing happened with the LA Rams. Not many people are panicking for the LA Rams as well. I don't know why you would be for the Green Bay Packers at the same front. Like, just take that away. I think they're going to be fine. They still only gave up 23 points. Could have easily scored 23 points themselves. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great game in this one still. And with that, like, running back wise, what are we going with? Are we going with Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon? Okay. And my bold prediction at the start of the year was that both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon would be top 12 running backs on the season in fantasy football. And honestly, for me, guys, I'm just going to play A.J. Dillon a lot because, well, he should be priced up higher than this. Like, him and Aaron Jones should be the price point. Aaron Jones played 37% or 37 snaps. A.J. Dillon played 31. Okay, so they really just split that workload down the middle. They were on the field a little bit together. But, A.J. Dillon, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 10 rushing attempts, 16 total opportunities. Like, he should be a stellar play in this one. Like, I really like A.J. Dillon on the slate. Like, I'm going out of my way to play him. Although I do kind of expect them to realize that, hey, only getting Aaron Jones, 10 opportunities. That's probably not right. Let's try to get him around 12 opportunities. The tough part is once you get both of them around like 12 opportunities, it's just difficult. It's difficult to allocate that pretty much. The play just has to develop that way. With A.J. Dillon being much more the short yards back, he is the safer play, where Aaron Jones is like the play that can really blow up the slate. And I think that's why he's priced as the highest player, although it just makes it tough for him to pay up for on this slate. Now from there, I will say like Robert Tonyan is definitely priced up. Okay, he played in 22% of the snaps for the Green Bay Packers. You had Tyler Davis, a tight end who the Green Bay Packers really like. He played 15% of the snaps, which was about the same for DeGuara for the Green Bay Packers. And Mercedes Lewis was actually the leading tight end for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, I don't hate Tyler Davis for a punt play. And I want to make that clear, a punt play. They love him, okay? This could be the Andrew Beck call, okay, where the Green Bay Packers, for some reason, just love him. Okay, 15% of snaps for a guy that kind of made Jordan Love look bad in the preseason. A lot of the Jordan Love hate during the preseason was because Tyler Davis had like a fumble inside the red zone and a dropped reception that could have easily been a touchdown that ended up being picked off. Like, Jordan Love's preseason would have been a lot better if it were for Tyler Davis to be a better player, but obviously they like him. Like, those were plays in which should have got most players cut. So my point is, they love him. He played 15% of the snaps, did see a target, and did score some points. Like, at $600, he really just needs to make one play. Will he? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you love your build and like you don't want to rebuild and you only have like $1,000 left over, he'd be a play that you could make. Okay. And the biggest takeaway for the Green Bay Packers, in case you haven't noticed it, they are spreading the wealth. They are spreading the snap counts. Okay. It's Aaron Rodgers playing all the snaps. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones aren't even like the highest snap counts. You got Sammy Watkins, who played 41, Christian Watson, who played 40, Randall Cobb, who played 37, which was just as much as Aaron Jones. So very strange stuff there for the Green Bay Packers in terms of snap count allocation. So that's something we do need to pay attention to, and that's kind of what makes this slate much more difficult. Now, Allen Lazard is expected to be back, and he is expected to start. He's expected to be their receiver number one. Personally, for me on this slate, I think Allen Lazard is a little bit priced up. He looked fine going through the warm-ups and whatnot, practice-wise. You could play him. I'm fine with Allen Lazard. I do think he's going to be the highest scoring or safest, highest floor Green Bay Packers receiver on this slate. I just don't think we need to make that play. Okay, I don't. So from there, who do I like? I actually love Christian Watson, guys. Okay, 4 targets. We know one of those could have been a touchdown. It could have been a 75-yard touchdown, okay? He did not practice in most of the preseason throughout camp, okay? He didn't play in the preseason at all, and his first live rep is a play in which he burns the crap out of Patrick Peterson, gets wide open for a 75-yard touchdown, and just doesn't make the catch, okay? Given the situation, guys, I see that as an absolute win. Sure, yeah, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. And sometimes when you get those easy catches like that, it's so easy and you know that you have a touchdown that you're just looking ahead. That the moment's too big for you almost much. It's not a natural NFL play because it's so open, that you're just not mentally there. So I see that as a win. And he played the second most snaps out of any receiver at 40. Okay, now the snaps were pretty much split up. Sammy Watkins at 41. Christian Watson 40, Randall Cobb 37, and Romeo Doubs 35. But Christian Watson is a player they obviously love, and they've shown that throughout camp and whatnot. The fact that he got the second most receiver snaps tells me all we need to know. And the fact that he did look good last week as well tells me all that we need to know. The big plays are going to be there for him. It's just whether or when he figures it out, when he gets Aaron Rodgers' trust. That's what we're waiting for. Eventually, he's going to be the receiver number one in this offense, and maybe it hits against the Chicago Bears. From there, if you do want to play Romeo Doubs, I don't mind. Did have 5 targets, 4 receptions, 37 yards. He looked fine as well. He's going to be a solid NFL receiver. If you want to play him, you can. I'm perfectly fine with it. You can easily fit him in there. So build-wise, this is not a terrible build. You got a lot to work with. You could easily pay it for Aaron Jones if you wanted to. That'd be fine. But for now, I'm just going to put Cole Kmet in the flex so I can pay up for a better captain. And for me with Cole Kmet, it's I would much rather play Cole Kmet at his price point than Robert Tonyan at his price point, if that makes sense. I think we can captain A.J. Dillon. Then we got a lot of money left over. You could go Fields if you wanted to. You could go, I want to get Mooney in there though. So let's try to find a way to make this work. Oh, if we could get Dobbs in there, I would like that better. Let's try this. I don't love this, but Mooney is a little bit cheaper than A.J. Dillon. And Mooney could have a huge game. We could see this happening. I really don't mind this build, okay? Both running backs get used a lot in the passing game. We're depending on Watson to make a big play, and we're depending on Dobbs to have the same role. I don't love that too much. Sure, we'd want to be able to pay up for Allen Lazard, but this is a pretty solid build for a Showdown build. But that is all I have for you guys. I know it wasn't as quick and fast paced as my previous Showdown videos. I was trying to break it down as easy as possible. So I apologize for a little bit more length to it this time, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. That always helps out the channel. Thanks for watching. As always, guys, let's keep cashing.